Metro Louisville is made up of 26 districts. This podcast gives you a chance to connect with your council member and learn about what's going down in your district.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to the Metro Council District Download Podcast. We have some exciting changes for this new year. We hope you'll enjoy the new formatting of the podcast and special guest moderator who will be making an appearance in an upcoming episode. The first topic of today's podcast is bittersweet. We'll be saying goodbye and good luck to our former Metro Council president, and congratulations to our newly elected Metro Council president. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our first two guests, former President David James and President Markus Winkler. Hello and Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year.
Former Councilman James, let's go ahead and start with you.
All right.
How long did you serve as Metro Council president?
I served as Metro Council president for 5 years, and I had a great time and enjoyed every second of it.
Well, I'll jump in. I'm going to call you David, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So, David, I've served with you for these 4 years. It's been a real pleasure and appreciate all of your work and guidance and mentoring. And, you really led council through some very challenging times, at least over the 4 years I've been here.
Right.
Let me ask you, what's one of the things that you're proudest of during your time in leadership in the presidency?
I think one of the things I really enjoyed the most was just, and being proud of, is just trying to get everybody somewhere in the same steeple or in the same house. And I did that because I had a great whip as the Majority Caucus chair, now president. I would say my greatest accomplishment, I think I would say, was passing the budgets, the help of Bill Hollander, who has dedicated his life to that. And just really trying to help people. And I don't think there was one single thing that I'm most proud of. And it was just been a blessing to be able to serve people.
So, David, we know you have some exciting news. So what's next for you?
So I am now the deputy mayor of emergency services, working for Mayor Craig Greenberg. And I am highly excited about all that. Last week, I was able to hand the gavel to Markus Winkler, who's now the president of the Metro Council. I am 100% positive that Markus is going to do an outstanding job as the president. He has served extremely well as the chair of the Democratic Caucus of Metro Council, and he has made so much legislation pass in our city, getting everybody into better places because of his work, that I know he's going to do the same thing as president. And so I have the utmost faith in him. I feel very strongly that the relationship between the Metro Council and the mayor's administration is going to be much different than it has in the past. And so I'm super excited, super pumped about all that.
Great. Now that we've talked about him a lot, let's formally introduce him.
That's right. So he is the one and only Markus Winkler. He is the president of the Metro Council. For those that don't know, the Metro Council president gets elected every year in January, and I'm sure that Markus Winkler will be elected every January as long as he wants to be, because he's going to do a great job at it. I know it. I've worked with him for so long. So Markus, we got a few questions for you. Tell us your district number. Tell us the geographic boundaries of where you operate for your district so that everybody knows.
Sure. Well, thank you for those very kind words that I probably don't deserve, but I really appreciate. I represent District 17, which is northeast Jefferson County. It includes areas like the Kentucky Truck Plant, Tom Sawyer Park, goes from the city of Middletown up to the Brownsboro Road area, and then from Goose Creek Road roughly to the Gene Snyder, give or take.
That's a giant area.
It's a big area.
All right, I got it.
So why do you want to serve as council president?
Well, I think, one of the things that I bring to the table is an ability to build relationships across, a wide array of people and backgrounds, and ability to find common ground. And I think those are critical skills that you want in any leader. And so whether it is working with people in our nonprofit sector, in our business sector, on council, in the executive branch, in the general public, being able to sit down with people, listen, understand what the concerns are, and then find a solution is something that I think I've done quite well these past 4 years, and something that I hope to do in this new role.
And as we talk about what you want to hope to do, what are one or two priorities that you have as president?
Sure. So I think, the first priority is really working with the new administration to address some of the challenges that we've got in our city, whether it's the public safety crisis, whether it's the challenge with homelessness and affordable housing, or just creating the economic framework that allows people to thrive and businesses to relocate here. I think those are critical tasks for our city. And working with David and the rest of the administration and Mayor Greenberg to make that happen, I think is job number one. I think really the second focus and the way that I look at what's happened in our city over the last couple of years is, I believe very strongly that we live in the best mid-sized city in America. And I think that, over the last couple of years, we've lost our way a little bit. And we've, our plate was spinning and we've developed a little bit of a wobble. And we got to fix that wobble. And I think we heard from the mayor in his inauguration address really talking about it's a new day and takes all of us. And that this, getting us back on the right footing, moving us forward and helping us realize the city that we can be requires every one of us in all of our sectors, whether you're in the business sector, the nonprofit sector, a Metro employee or in the general public. And I look forward to working with all those groups, working with the new administration to really help us realize the city that we can become.
So I've got a question for you. So people have different styles of leadership, and explain to the community what your style of leadership is and how you bring that to the table, and how did you get to that style of leadership?
Sure. So, I really would describe my style. I mean, I am somebody that loves to get to yes, right? And I think you know that. I mean, I really try to find ways to get to yes. And that doesn't mean 100% yes, but it means some of the way yes, right? And regardless of where you sit on an issue, I believe very strongly that there's generally agreement on at least some or most of the issue. And as long as we can focus ourselves on that 50, 70, 90% that we agree on, we can come to a good solution. And so that's sort of how I would summarize my leadership style. And I think the way I've gotten there is that requires the ability to listen and do more listening than you do talking. And I can't say that that's always been a strong point of mine. For a long time, I did a lot more talking than I did listening and sort of wondered why I wasn't as effective as I thought I could be. I learned that by sitting back, holding your opinion, really letting everybody else speak, and then trying to summarize what you've heard from people and try to bring those differing views together, that you end up finding a lot of common ground, that people appreciate that approach. And that really is the way to move things forward. And it's really not about me. It's, the sort of last principle that I'll touch on that I believe in very strongly is that credit is infinitely divisible, right? And when you set out to make others successful, you will become successful naturally, right? But I think giving that credit away, letting others have the limelight, really is the way to be an effective leader.
Outstanding, and you did it. So I'll just let everybody know when Marcus calls you to try to get to yes, he is very, very diplomatic about how he does that, and he will wear you down till you get to that yes, and he's been very successful at it. Now, I just want to thank you for that, because there's been so many pieces of good work that's taken place because you do that. So
thank you.
You're going to keep doing that.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
And finally, is there something you can share about yourself that maybe we or the listeners don't know about you already?
Well, people may not know that I'm not originally from the United States. I was born in Germany. I lived there till I was 4 years old. My parents immigrated to this country when I was 4. I became a U.S. citizen a little bit over a decade ago. It's while America is the only place that I've ever really lived and the only place that I went to school, moving to another country, having parents who are immigrants, and seeing the challenges that they dealt with, and then bringing that perspective and understanding that this is a country that really can afford you incredible opportunity, and it's opportunity that I may not have had where I was born, and I'm truly grateful for that, and I'm happy to have 3 kids that I'm able to raise here, and really think that I've am sort of the epitome of the American dream, and am grateful for all the opportunities they've gotten these past 39 years.
Thank you. So now we're going to switch gears and talk about the recent resignations of District 3 Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey, District 3 Councilwoman Keisha Dorsey and District 6 Councilman David James. Both have transitioned over to the mayor's office to continue their good work for the community. So, Deputy Mayor James, we'll let you take it away.
Yeah. So what's happening is that I've resigned my position, and Keisha Dorsey has resigned her position. And now the president of the council has the hard task of getting everybody together to try and find the replacement for myself and Keisha Dorsey. And I'll let Marcus go with it from there.
Yeah, thanks, David. So the applications are currently open. So if you live in one of those two districts, you have to have lived there for at least a year. You have to be 18 years or older. But if you meet those requirements, you can submit an application either in person at 601 West Jefferson. You can drop off a resume with the Metro Council clerk. You can email it to metrocouncilclerk@louisvilleky.gov, or you can just go to the Metro Council website at louisvilleky.gov and find the application there. But you can submit an application all the way through 5 o'clock on the 13th. If you mail your application in, it does have to be received within 4 days of the 13th. The county attorney will then take all of the applicants, conduct a check for eligibility, and then all of those who are eligible will ultimately come before council probably on January 30th. We'll have a special committee of the whole where we will interview those candidates who qualified. And then in the council meeting on February 3rd, we will vote to select the new representatives who will serve until a special election this November when there will be an election to coincide with the gubernatorial race.
That's right. And so the appointment of the council of that person is only until November. And there's a process for making sure that whoever that is, if you're a listening person and live in either District 3 or District 6, that you also would want to try to get the Jefferson County Democratic Party to make you the nominee for that in order to be on the ballot. And if that takes place, it would have to take place by June the 6th to have that support of the Jefferson County Democratic Party.
And Republican Party, right?
And Republican
both
Party.
Parties will
Both
have
parties.
one nominee.
That's correct.
For the general election.
That's right.
We're too close to a primary, so there will not be a primary. So those positions will be selected by the respective parties. I believe any independent can also petition to be on the ballot. But then those elections will take place this November, along with the statewide constitutional races.
Absolutely. And if you have any questions whatsoever, you can call the Metro Council clerk at 574-3902. That's 574-3902.
Thank you both for your time today. Deputy Mayor James, thank you for your years of service to the council, and we're looking forward to working with you in your new capacity.
Thank you.
And then President Winkler, we're looking forward to your voice and perspectives as council leader this year, so thank you both.
Thank you very much.
The second part of this podcast will include an introduction of the newly elected members of the Metro Council. We'll start with the Majority Caucus members today, and you'll learn more about the Minority Caucus members during the next podcast on January 24th. Let's start in Council District order and welcome Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins. Hi, Councilwoman. How are you today?
I'm awesome, and yourself?
Doing great.
Great.
Excellent. So if you could, please share the district you represent and briefly describe the area for listeners.
I represent Parkland, Lake Dreamland, St. Denis, a portion of Algonquin, Riverside Gardens, Russell, and Chickasaw.
Great. And maybe what are some of the thoroughfares, or where are you boundary-wise?
A portion of the West End represents Parkland. Parkland is a big thing now in District 1. Russell, Old Southwick. That's probably about it.
Okay, great. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your background prior to seeking office?
I'm a business owner. Most of my businesses reside in Parkland. Very outgoing personality. 49, no children. Very passionate about people, getting things done, the youth, public safety. Those things I'm very passionate about.
And I know you're an entrepreneur. So what businesses have you started in the district?
Well, I've had a daycare for the last 15 years. There was a food desert, still is, in the West End, so I decided to open up a food mart. I've been having that food mart for the last 3 years. Also, I am the owner of an event space. I've been having that for the last 3 years.
Great. Why did you want to run for Metro Council?
Well, Jessica Green, who sit in the seat prior to myself, was awesome. We had a great relationship. I seen all the things that she did in District 1. And when I got knowledge that she was leaving the seat, I just said, hey, why not Tammy Hawkins? I was already thriving in Parkland. So from there, I just said, well, I'm doing it now without a title, so why not? I did it effortlessly for the last at least 10 years, without a title, without any help, until Jessica came along and started supporting the things that she saw that I was doing.
Well, we're glad to have you on the council now. So if you could name maybe a few priorities for your district, what are some things that you'd like to concentrate on as you take office?
Well, one of the things that I want to concentrate on, and that is the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge that a lot of the constituents don't have. Processes and procedures, actually knowing exactly what your council person does, exactly knowing what district that you live in, exactly knowing who represents that district, just the do's and the don'ts. You get a lot of calls from constituents because I was one at first myself, and I just didn't have I didn't have the knowledge to know, well, hey, who do I call for this, and who's in charge of this? And making sure that my constituents first have that knowledge, which would make the process of getting the information out easy. It's because they'll know, well, hey, my council person doesn't do this. This is the mayor's office. I need to call somebody for this. So just the lack of knowledge. So just making sure that they have that, and information, because information is powerful. If they have the information that they need, they can get things done.
Yeah, I love that, being able to connect people with actual departments that can actually cause change for them and solve issues. I think that's a great priority.
Definitely. In District 1, I also want to have a newsletter go out. Also, there's a lot of constituents that are not computer savvy, or they don't know how to get online. So therefore, I want to make sure that they get the information one way or another, even if that means to their doorsteps.
Great. I love that. Bringing the information directly to folks, no matter what the media is to get it to them, I think is really important.
Correct.
So kind of let's look at a broader scale, community-wide. Is there maybe one thing that you'd like to work on that would affect all of Metro Louisville?
For me, public safety. Assuring that everyone is protected and held accountable. I think not just in District 1, but every district, to have a safe environment. It's just so much crime going on right now. So just kind of being bridging the gap with the mayor's office, bridging the gap with LMPD, just so we can kind of get a hold on all of the crime. I think that's one of the biggest concerns and issue that I have with not just my district. It's there in everybody's district.
Yes, unfortunately it's community-wide.
Yeah, it is community-wide, and I tell a lot of my constituents now, right now we have to go back until we can get a hold on it. We have to kind of police our neighborhoods. We have to go back to that. So that's important.
Yeah, I completely agree. So this is the fun part. So share a fun fact about yourself, maybe something that the listeners wouldn't know about you.
Well, Cal, that's hard because most of my constituents that are listening, and for the ones that don't, the ones that I haven't been able to touch, they will see me soon. I try to make sure that everybody understands that I'm a people person. I'm very outgoing, and my boots will be to the ground. Know that. Know that I am available. and I'm here to serve my district.
Excellent. So you heard it here first. If you haven't met Councilwoman yet, she's going to be around. You'll get to meet her very soon. So Councilwoman, thank you so much for stopping by today and sharing with the listeners a little bit about yourself and District 1 priorities.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Next up is Councilman Andrew Owen. Hi, Councilman. Welcome to the District Download. Hope you've had a great year so far.
Going well.
So please share with our listeners what district you represent and briefly describe the area.
Sure. I represent the 9th District, and the 9th District runs along Frankfort Avenue, starting at Melwood, and runs through the Clifton neighborhood, Crescent Hill neighborhood, and out to St. Matthews. And I don't represent all of St. Matthews, but a large majority of St. Matthews. So it kind of, the spine of the district is Frankfort Avenue and Shelbyville Road.
Great. Can you please share a little bit about yourself and your background prior to seeking office?
So I have been running my own business for the last 20 or so years. I grew up in Louisville, left for about 13 years, and when I came back, I called my brother and said, "Do you want to start a commercial real estate company?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And so we have a very small family-owned commercial real estate company that I've been involved in. For the first 10 years or so after coming back to Louisville, I lived in Old Louisville and got involved in neighborhood organizing there. Was on the Old Louisville Information Center Board, Old Louisville Neighborhood Council, president of the Belgravia Court Neighborhood Association, and I worked with former Council President David James pretty closely on a lot of neighborhood issues there. So I kind of got my start in kind of neighborhood activism in Old Louisville, and then for the last 6 or going on 7 years, my wife and I and our kids have lived in District 9. So that's kind of a general background on me.
That's great. That's great. So what made you want to run for Metro Council?
It's been something that has been in the back of my mind for a long time. My dad was on Metro Council for a long time, for about 25 years representing District 8, and so I had seen him do a lot of good work in that office. And so from a very early age, I was pretty fascinated with cities and neighborhoods and what makes them work or not work. And I went on to get an urban planning degree in college and have started out in affordable housing and some other things that are kind of closely related to council work. So it's been something that has kind of been in the back of my mind for a long time, and I finally feel like I've gotten my business to a place where I can take a little bit of a step away from that and give the job the time it deserves. And so when Councilman Hollander decided he was going to retire after this last term, I thought, well, this would be a great time to go ahead and make the leap.
Great. Well, we're really excited that you're on council now.
I couldn't be any more excited myself. I'm ready to go.
That's great. I know you briefly mentioned your father. Do you want to let everyone know who your father is?
Yeah,
or?
so my dad is Tom Owen. He, again, represented District 8 for a long time, is a Louisville historian, has worked at the University of Louisville Archives since 1975, and ran for mayor in 1998 in the Democratic primary. So I've learned a lot from him and hope to carry his legacy forward.
Yes, I know you will. You'll do great. So what are maybe two top priorities you have for the district that you now serve?
So with an urban planning background, I definitely want to continuing focusing on public infrastructure. Councilman Hollander has done a lot of that, but we don't have a lot of money for sidewalks and public infrastructure. We don't get a lot of money from the state, and so we were kind of in a hole, and we're kind of behind the 8 ball. And Councilman Hollander has spent a lot of time and money focusing on that, and I want to continue that work, kind of carry that forward. To me, that means, like I was saying before, it's curbs and sidewalks and plantings and benches and all the things that make a place feel good. For me, it's an investment not only in the public infrastructure, but it's also an investment in our local shops and businesses, which are so important to me and everyone who lives in District 9,
yes,
because we have so many good ones. But it's an investment in those shops and businesses. The more people want to be out and about and walking along the street and poking their head in a store and spending some money, it's good for the local businesses. But it's also an investment in public safety, because the more people, again, you have eyes on the street, the safer a place is and the better it feels. So continuing to invest in public infrastructure will be definitely a priority. And then this may go without saying, but a big part of the job is constituent services and communication. And the 9th District has had excellent leadership over the last number of decades. And so the expectations are high in the 9th District, and I embrace that. And continuing to provide good service, good public service, and good communication with the people who live in the 9th District will be a focus as well.
Those are great two top priorities at this point. So thinking of the community as a whole, do you think public safety and infrastructure needs are going to be one of your priorities too, or do you have other ideas that you would like to tackle as the whole Metro Council?
So one of the things that I talked about a lot during the campaign, and it's on the front of many people's minds, is public safety. And for me, that means a big part of that is rebuilding the relationship between LMPD and the community. That's a two-way street. And I don't feel at this point like either side, LMPD or the community, have enough faith and trust in the other side. And I'm not naive enough to think that I can wave a magic wand and repair that relationship overnight. It's going to take focus and time and conversations and things like that. But that's something that I am really interested in diving into and trying to help repair that relationship. I don't think we can significantly improve public safety until we start repairing that relationship.
And then share a fun fact about yourself that maybe the listeners are.
Well, I love music. I spend a lot of time either humming or singing in my head. And so I know my wife sometimes puts her hand on me and says, stop, because I'm doing it louder than she can hear. That's one thing. But then I also play guitar, not well, but I play guitar, and I taught myself to play the piano during the pandemic. So music is a very kind of core thing in my life.
That's an impressive skill during the pandemic.
When you have these new apps that, I think I was using a Simply Piano app, and it was amazing, and was able to really make some progress during the pandemic.
Very cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So, Councilman, thank you so much for your time today, and we appreciate your sharing insights on the future for District 9, and look forward to everything you're going to do.
Great. Thanks very much. I look forward to working with you and working with everyone in District 9 to help move things forward.
Our third new member is Councilwoman Jennifer Chappell. Hi, Councilwoman. Thanks for joining us today. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm great. It's exciting that January 3rd is finally here and we're able to finally put some gas on the pedal and go.
Can you please share the district you represent and briefly describe the area for the listeners?
Sure. So I represent District 15, and that goes from a little sliver of Germantown all the way out to Iroquois Park. It includes places like Schnitzelburg, St. Joseph, University, Oakdale, Wyandotte, Hazelwood, Lucky Horseshoe, Cloverleaf. There's a lot of great neighborhoods, Taylor Berry, Jacobs, that fall into that, as well as a lot of really great landmarks. So if you've ever been to U of L, any of the stadiums, Speed Art Museum, Iroquois Park, the amphitheater, or even Churchill Downs, that's in District 15 as well. So I always like to say, if you've partied in Louisville, you've probably partied in District 15, because it also includes all the pubs and whatnot of Schnitzelburg. So
I know with the redistricting too, now the shape of the map is pretty unique now.
Yes, it's pretty long and pretty skinny. I think it kind of looks vastly different than a lot of the other Metro Council districts, but it kind of goes from part of central Louisville, I would say, in the northern part, and really goes into southwest Louisville. But it's a great district, so I'm really excited to represent everyone.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Can you share a little bit about yourself and your background prior to seeking office?
Sure. So I have lived in Schnitzelburg for 12 years, but I'm a lifelong Louisvillian. And I actually, the other day, I had to get used to, now that it's 2023, I said this for the first time the other day, and I really stumbled on it, and it was kind of an emotional moment, but I am the former president of the Schnitzelburg Area Community Council, as well as the former chair of the Jefferson County Soil and Water Conservation District. And both of those organizations are near and dear to my heart because I really have a passion for environmental justice and creating a sustainable future. But then also I'm really passionate about our built environment and making sure we have good infrastructure and neighborhoods that work for people. So in my time as a council person, I'm really hoping to marry those two kind of passions and see what we can do with District 15.
And you mentioned Snitzelberg. Can you share with us how would all the listeners, what do you think that would drive them usually to Snitzelberg, or have they heard of Snitzelberg? Maybe one of the big festivals that you all put on.
Sure. So this upcoming year, we will be celebrating the 53rd annual World Championship Dainty Contest, which if you're from Louisville, hopefully you're familiar with that event that goes on in the last Monday in July, usually the hottest day of the year. We have a street festival. But you might come to Snitzelberg again for great pubs and eateries. We have a brewery now, Monarch, so a lot of people hopefully have had a beer over there. And Manual Stadium is also in Snitzelberg. Art Sanctuary, we have the Germantown Mill Lofts. So we have a lot of really cool things happening over in Snitzelberg.
Great. So why did you want to run for Metro Council?
Admittedly, I kind of struggle with this question because it's always been a dream of mine to be on Metro Council. So I feel like I could maybe better address, like, why wouldn't you want to be on Metro Council? Because
well,
to
how
me,
about that? Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Not on this podcast. But I'm just really passionate about helping people and getting things done. For me to pretend that I'm not a type A personality who likes to really make lists and organize and get things done, I'm really hoping to bring that to this seat. As silly as that sounds, if anything, but I think that there's been such disinvestment in our neighborhoods and our neighbors, and also just connecting people through communications. And there's a lot of resources and programming and all sorts of things that have gone untapped, but also opportunities to connect people so they can collaborate and get things done. And so I'm really excited to bring that to the table. And as a lifelong Louisvillian and someone who's been a public servant for 10 years, I'm really bringing a lot of value in that. I've been there, I've done that, and let's do it on Metro Council.
So speaking about that, let's talk about maybe one or two of your priorities specifically for District 15 that you would like to concentrate on this year.
Sure. One of the really big things that we're doing, and it's not necessarily a legislative thing, we are doing neighborhood assessments. And so we're going into each one of the neighborhoods in District 15, and we're looking at, what does your tree canopy look like? Where are the trash cans? Where are there opportunities for trash cans? What do the curbs and sidewalks look like? What do the streets look like? Is there a feral cat problem? Is there another problem? Is there a block of abandoned houses? And so once we're able to take that kind of assessment over all of District 15, instead of piecemealing every little bit of things that need to be done, I can say, okay, my entire district has a need for 45 no stopping signs. We need 63 trash cans. And so putting goals into that and then being able to make sweeping changes, so it's not just a little bit here and a little bit there, really making sure that people are seeing that their government is investing in them and working for them. So that's one of the really big things. And then also just kind of, I have a list of legislative priorities that I put together. Some of them are really small, some of them are really big. So for me, it's important to just have conversations with people to figure out how far I can take those things. What am I missing? Because for a Metro Council person to come into this role and be a savant on every issue is really unrealistic. So I always say that Metro Council people, or really any politician, we are jacks of all trades, but we're not really masters of any. So I'm really looking forward to leaning into a lot of folks, and there's a lot of meetings coming up, but I'm really looking forward to hearing about some of the work that's been going on and what needs to be done. So I guess assessing and listening are the two big things that I'll be doing in my first, I guess, term.
Yeah, those are great priorities.
Or not term.
Yes.
First
year.
First year, yeah. First 6 months, first year.
And so talking about maybe more community-wide, is there maybe one issue that you want to tackle with other members of the council for the community as a whole, or?
Absolutely. I think making sure that we have affordable housing and also making sure that we have good development, positive development, development that's working for our communities that include community benefit agreements, just creating infill development and raising our housing stock. Where in my district alone, and I know that you had talked about all of Louisville, but we took down a housing project that hit 850 units. Where do those families, where do those individuals, where do they go? And so we're looking at plans on how to build in that, but unless we're replacing it with 850 units,
Right.
we still have a long way to go. So affordable housing is something that I'm really passionate about, not only creating affordable housing, but making sure that our residents feel like they have the support that they need from Metro government to make sure that they have safe, strong, and healthy neighborhoods. And when I talk about housing, that could also be going after vacant and abandoned properties, because a lot of times those can hold neighborhoods hostage when we don't have places that are activated and families that are in those homes. So going after, I guess, just housing as a general issue, but then also I do have to say that environmentalism is just a really big part of what I do. So I'm really looking forward to greenifying some places. And once we're able to make sure that we're prioritizing our natural landscape, then that's going to have benefits that go way beyond air quality, property values, park accessibility, street calming. There's so many things that are, when we invest in our natural environment, that it gives back to us. So hopefully we'll move the needle on that.
Yes, yeah. So this is the fun one. So share a fun fact about yourself that listeners wouldn't know.
My word, I meant to have something really fantastic prepared, but I'll just go with I have an American Brittany, and I have a miniature dachshund and a little dog, or a little cat, and they're all over the age of 10, so I just have my little senior crew, and we have a real good time over in Schnitzelburg.
I love that. So thanks so much for stopping by today and sharing with the listeners a little bit about yourself and some of the goals for District 15.
Of course, and I look forward to talking to people more, and my office is always open and ready for people to reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So our final guest today is Councilwoman Betsy Ruey. Hi, Councilwoman. Thanks for being with us today. How's your new year?
It's been really interesting. I'm excited to be starting a new job here.
Welcome, welcome. So we'll jump right into it. If you can just share with the listeners what district you represent and briefly describe the area.
Okay, we're in District 21, so that includes the Beachmont neighborhood, Southern Parkway, and it also includes the airport, the fairgrounds, and goes all the way down Preston Highway to Fern Valley Road, and some sections actually go all the way across to Poplar Level.
Great. Can you share a little bit about yourself and your background prior to seeking office?
I'm a retired teacher. I spent 22 years in the classroom teaching special ed, mostly with kindergarten, first, and second graders. So put me in a room with little children, you'll see my eyes just light up.
Why did you want to run for Metro Council?
Well, I just want to continue staying active in the community, and I see so many things that could be done to make our community better, and I saw how wonderful a job Councilwoman George did, and I want to follow up with that and keep that progress moving forward.
So talking about keeping progress moving forward, can you share a couple priorities you have for the district as you come into office?
After knocking on over 8,000 doors and talking to lots of constituents during my campaign, it became clear our highest priority right now is getting our unhoused population into housing and to make sure we have sufficient affordable housing for other members of our community.
And that kind of sounds like kind of a broader topic too. So is that something you want to work on community-wide as well, or really specifically in District 21?
No, it's community-wide. The residents are not staying in District 21. They're all over the city, and everybody's facing the same issues. You feel like that it's all in your neighborhood, and then you drive off on Bardstown Road and you look over there and like there's a tent over there, there's a tent over there. It's all over our city.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is
something we desperately need to deal with.
Those are great priorities and something that's much needed all over the community. So finally, just share a fun fact about yourself that we don't know.
Okay, well, I have a 7-month-old Australian Shepherd puppy. And we go out for like 5 and 6 mile walks every morning. And this is a very rainy day today. And my puppy didn't go for a walk. I feel very sorry for my husband today.
Oh, no.
I gave him a fresh bone before I left.
Thank you again for joining us today and sharing more about yourself and District 21 priorities. This concludes today's episode. Please be sure to tune in on Tuesday, January 24th to meet the newly elected Minority Caucus members. Until next time, thanks for joining us.